Hey, what's up guys? I'm going to do a second follow-up video on the Duncan Lemp case since there is an article that has revealed new information. And I told you I was going to follow the story and give you guys any updates. There were lots of information in this short article that changed a lot of things and were very interesting. So I'm interested to see who the people who criticized my first video for jumping to conclusions. I wonder what they're going to say about this. It has been 6 weeks since a SWAT team shot and killed 21-year-old Duncan Lemp in 4:30 a.m. raid at his family's home in Potomac, Maryland, a affluent and sedate suburb of Washington, D.C. I don't know why that's even necessary to put that information there. Montgomery County Police have thus far refused to provide any evidence on how or why they killed Lemp, but a county prosecutor leaped to action on Wednesday, effectively threatening any Lemp family members who attend a protest over his killing with a $5,000 fine and a year in jail. The reason? Maryland's strict stay-at-home orders imposed by Republican Governor Larry Big Mac Hogan last month. That guy's so fucking fat, he's so disgusting. I fucking hate him so much. As I reported in the American Conservative here and here, a Montgomery County SWAT team launched an unprovoked attack on Lemp's home at 4:30 a.m. This is repeating information. Here's where it gets interesting. Police claim they received an anonymous tip 2 months earlier that Lemp possessed firearms. The police department asserted that Lemp was prohibited from owning firearms due to a juvenile conviction, but apparently there are zero court records or other records to support that justification. So, what people were nagging on me in the original video was that he had a drug charge as a juvenile, and apparently in Maryland that means you cannot own firearms until you're 30 years old. Now, while that's unconstitutional as fuck, regardless, that is the law. But the problem is there's no evidence to support that claim that he was convicted of a drug charge, or any charge for that matter, as a juvenile conviction. The original article I quoted said he had no criminal history whatsoever. The second one came out saying what he just said, that, oh, he had drugs as a kid, so that means he couldn't own firearms till he was 30. Now they're coming back and saying, actually, there's no evidence, no court records to support the justification whatsoever. Isn't that interesting? So that makes the original article correct. So that means that, as of now, I am correct, and I wasn't jumping to conclusions. That was the evidence. This person had no criminal record whatsoever, and these policemen shoot him through the wall of the house when he's sleeping with his girlfriend at 4:30 in the morning. Like I said, regardless of Lemp's juvenile history, there was no evidence that he posed an imminent threat justifying a frontal assault that included throwing flashbang explosive device into the family home. So again, like I said, even if he had this charge, which as of now there is no evidence to suggest that he does, how does that justify what they did? They should have sent him a letter or approached him in daytime, at work, public area, not when he's sleeping, and saying, hey, you're breaking this law, we need to investigate, we have a warrant, let's come in and search. Let's ask you some questions, whatever. That's how you approach someone breaking the law, like non-violent law. But now, Montgomery County has a new imminent threat. Angry relatives of the guy they killed. County Prosecutor Haley Roberts sent a warning letter to the Lemp family. The Lemp's family lawyers, Jonathan Fellner and Renee Sadler. Open source information indicates that your clients intend to participate in this planned protest over the killing of Duncan Lemp at Montgomery County Police Headquarters tomorrow, April 25th. Actually, I probably won't get this video up until 25th or 26th, so that protest would have already happened by the time you're hearing this. Open source apparently means that the local police are tracking Lemp's family members on social media, where the Lemp killing is still enraging legions of folks. There are lots of Facebook pages and groups that are just absolutely fired up as fuck about this. They are so astronomically pissed off at this. This is such an egregious affront to everything we stand for, including people's lives and all our rights that makes this country so great. And it's just a stomp in the face of all of that. And it's especially egregious to the family because they have provided absolutely no information about anything. They have released no body cam footage. They have lied about Lemp, saying that he is a rapist and abuser and a drug abuser. I've seen posts about the police calling him that when there's absolutely no evidence to support any of this. No one said that he abused anyone or abused drugs, or that He was a rapist. Apparently he was a rapist? Like, what? They're just slandering this dead man, which is so egregious and so fucking uncalled for. Roberts warned that Governor Hogan's stay-at-home order does not appear to include planned protests. Roberts stated that the county police department asked the lawyers to remind the Lemp family of the governor's orders, as well as the charge from those orders, and state mandating law enforcement must enforce those orders. At least the prosecutor did not hint that the SWAT team would attack them if they showed up. Sadler fired off a testy reply. As a matter of law, you are wrong. There's absolutely no basis for the arrest of any citizen in this state if such individual exercises their First Amendment right to peacefully assemble so long as social distancing of 6 feet is practices and there are no groups of no more than 10 people gathered. An unprovoked killing of an innocent man as he lay in bed, exactly the type of tyrannical abuse that Americans should be protesting. But the Montgomery County officials apparently believe they can suppress protesters the same way they have thus far covered up the SWAT killing. This is yet another example of the government using this threat of COVID-19, which I've already been over extensively. I'm not going to talk about it in detail, about how they are overblowing this threat astronomically, hundreds of thousands of times more than it actually is, in order to justify taking away people's rights. This is just one example of many of how they are trying to limit free speech in many aspects of the First Amendment by using COVID as an excuse. That's how they're justifying silencing people on social media. On Facebook and YouTube, you can't say anything contrary to their narrative. There's automatically delete your post, automatically delete your channel, flag your channel, whatever, if you say anything that they don't agree with, under the guise of COVID-19. What that has to do with COVID-19? Nothing. Now, you might say, oh, well, they don't want to protest because lots of people will be gathered in a small area, and that's the way they can spread COVID-19. Okay, that still doesn't make any sense, but that makes more sense than people saying stuff online, where there's absolutely no risk of spreading COVID-19, obviously because everyone else is in their own home commenting on things. So why are they censoring people online in the name of COVID-19? It makes no fucking sense. But regardless, free speech is absolute. You have the right to protest no matter what is going on. Your rights just don't go away if something's happening in the world. If something bad's happening, then you don't have rights. That's not how any of this works. It's because it's a slippery slope. You may say, oh, because COVID-19 is really, really extreme, so can we do it this one time? It's like, well, you haven't done it just this one time. You've been continuously doing this for decades, especially accelerated after September 11th. You took a tragedy, and then use it as an excuse to take away people's rights for years and years and years. You have done this, and they're still doing lots of things that they started right after September 11th. They never went back to normal. When have you heard of an Islamic terrorist attack in this country, like since Trump got elected? Maybe one happened in 4 years? It's practically went down to zero. And yet still, we have not regressed any of the policies that we enacted on after September 11th. The government never reverses these things that they say, oh, this thing is really, really bad, so we have to do just temporary until we fix the problem, and then we'll give you back your rights. Because then they'll use that as an excuse every single time something happens. Anytime there's any sort of threat, even if it's the tiniest threat in the world, what they will do is they amplify it through the media, amplify it through social media, get all the suburban Karens and Beckys in a fucking tizzy and just a frenzy, a panic, and then make it seem so much worse than what it is. So then when the governors, Northam and Hogan, just trot up to their stupid little podium and say, this threat is this bad because of ABC, which is completely made up, we need to take away your rights, then people just bend over and take it because they're scared. And the people who aren't scared, like me and lots of other people who are enraged over all this shit, we can't do anything about it. While the county police have time to survey Lemp's family members online, Police Chief Marcus Jones has refused to meet with the Lemp family. The police department refuses to even name the policeman who killed Lemp in a pre-dawn attack or to provide any other information to family about the fatal raid. Montgomery County Police sealed a search warrant which was granted on the day before the raid for 30 days. However, because Montgomery County courts are closed due to the coronavirus pandemic, the county is refusing to disclose the search warrant. Sandler filed an emergency motion to get the search warrant unsealed, but that may spur results for a few more weeks. Okay, so this is lots of the information repeats itself. So that was the bombshell. The first bombshell was that there's no evidence that he has a drug charge as a juvenile. There's another bombshell later in the article. The original article said that none of the people involved in the raid had body cams because they were in a department that didn't have body cams. Why they decided to make them the people who do a pre-dawn raid at 4:30 in the morning, no-knock raid, just just blows all sorts of rational logic out the fucking window into oblivion for 1,000,000 years. Like, I cannot emphasize how monumentally retarded that is, but regardless, they didn't have body cams. But this new article says at least one SWAT team member wore a camcorder during that raid, but police have refused to disclose the video of the attack. So there is just one body cam, at least one body cam footage of this attack, and they still have not released it 6 weeks after it happened. In another example, police killing in Newburgh, New York sparked a riot. The local police department released within 24 hours from their camcom to prove that the man police killed drew a pistol on them. If Montgomery County police have not destroyed the SWAT video, what will it show? Duncan Lemp sleeping with his arm tossed over his pregnant girlfriend by his side? Will the video honestly record how the SWAT team members handcuffed his injured girlfriend and family members as Duncan lay bleeding to death? Or will that segment be lost to a technical glitch? America is awaiting an answer from the Montgomery County government. Duncan Lemp's last tweet declared the Constitution is dead. Nothing that has happened since his killing has proved him wrong. Oh, I missed something important. There's a third bombshell. The search warrant affidavit may provide additional information to allegations against Lemp. Lemp, a software whiz, was volunteering to set up free websites for gun rights groups. Did Lemp's gun rights activism play a role in the SWAT team's decision to rely on a violent pre-dawn raid? Are local police or federal agents planning to target other gun right activists? It doesn't make any sense why they would treat Lemp like, an MS-13 member who has illegal drugs and illegal guns and is like trafficking humans, or like about to launch a terrorist attack, and they have to do this raid right now, right here, this very second, in the middle of the night, in order to stop him from doing some imminent attack. Like, there's no evidence to support that he was doing anything like that. In fact, the only evidence we have is that he was just a pro-amendment, pro-America guy who was making websites for gun rights groups. That's the only information we have. He didn't do any online threats. He wasn't involved in like a terrorist cell. He wasn't even in a militia whatsoever. Like, he supported militia, but he wasn't even in one. Like, there's just nothing to justify this. And there's just more information. I saw this a couple of days ago, maybe yesterday. This article came out, yesterday. And I'm like, wow, this is like really mind-blowing. That one, there's no evidence to support that he had a juvenile drug charge. So I don't know why the police why can't they uncover it? If they use that as an excuse of why he couldn't own firearms, then why don't they have it? Why can no one find it? And two, why do they say that no one in that team had body cam footage when at least one of them did? So that proves they were lying. They said, oh yeah, that department doesn't actually have body cam recorders. Bullshit, one of them does. Why aren't you naming the person? Why aren't you naming the person who has the footage? Why aren't you naming the person who shot him? Why aren't you releasing it? Why are you taking so long? Why can't you just say, oh yeah, we can't release it because we're doing an investigation? You won't even say that. You won't even meet with the family over anything. You are doing absolutely nothing to support the American people at this point. Can you imagine how the family feels? Like, we can't voice our opinion on social media because they just censor everything because they don't agree with us. We can't meet with them because they won't meet with us. We can't do a protest because they won't allow us to protest. Like, that you are cutting off every single avenue that they can take peacefully. What do you expect them to do is, oh yeah, you just killed our family member, we're just going to sit here and not do anything. This has pissed off an astronomical amount of fucking people. And you are not addressing that whatsoever. So again, I will continue to follow this, but it just does not look good at all. This is just far left fascism in play right here. And a young man's life is ended because of this, and a whole family member is left grieving with absolutely no explanation whatsoever.